Blog Talk Radio.
This is the Hans and Franz show. We're going to pump you up today. This morning it's going to be myself, the Dancing Bear, and Doug Wellens is here with me today. So today it's going to be the Hans and Franz show. There is no Greg today. He's still at the gymnasium pumping iron. Today it's going to be me and Doug, Hans and Franz, and we're going to pump you guys up. Good morning and welcome. My name is Joe. You're listening to Traffic Report. This is the every single morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day, 5 days a week. This is where we come together as a community to hang out, share some stuff, hear from all y'all in the community. This is an open forum every day, Monday through Friday. You can count on it. Set your timer on your cell phone. Put it into your speed dial so that you can always check us out. And always remember that we stream live right now. We are streaming live right now. Anybody in the known universe who can connect to the internet, man, can actually listen to us right now at radioleverage.com. And these replays also want you to know that there are replays. Every one of these radio shows is recorded every single morning. And then usually about 10 minutes after we conclude our time together, it shows up on the website, radioleverage.com. I see we have a few people in the queue here already who are dying to ask questions or make comments. A couple things, okay, what we're going to do here this morning is I want to let you guys in on really what the format is going to be moving forward, okay? And I love the fact that all of you guys are coming out here every single day. And as a matter of fact, you are invited to come out every single day. Press 1 on the keypad of your telephone if you'd like to share a comment or you have a question. Pretty much the questions are being handled in the frequently asked questions and in the support tickets. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff, that is there for you guys to get your questions handled and answered, okay? So what we're going to be doing here in the morning is kind of like just a get-together, right? We want to motivate, we want to educate, we want to inspire you, and we want to be educated, motivated, and inspired by you. This is an open forum, a virtual water cooler. That being said, what we want to do is we want to do our best, and we usually do our best, to keep this to keep this kind of tight. We've been going one time I think we went for 3 hours, Doug. And I know that people are busy and we have stuff to do and I know that we're building a business, so I'm gonna do my best to keep it under control here this morning and see if we can get us into see if we can get us into 30, 45 minutes maybe, so that we can get back to doing the things that are the most important, which is the simple things, the simple processes that will put money in your bank. Doug, I'm going to put you on mute. I can hear you fidgeting about a little bit there. I'm going to be bringing Doug Wellens back. And so when you take a look, also we'll be publishing our real-time schedule for our radio broadcast. And you're going to be seeing that Doug is going to be available usually once a week. We're going to make Doug available on Wednesday just for questions and just to get to know Doug. And we also have on Saturdays, as you know, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday, we have it's a Founders Hour. I call it the Visionary Founders Not Quite an Hour. We want to try and keep people, free them up, right? Who wants to work on Saturday? And also Fridays. So here's the plan, what we're going to be doing, okay? Here's the plan for Fridays. For Fridays, what we want to do is use it as a sales tool, okay? I call it the fence kicking party. As you go through your week, you're talking to people, and they're thinking maybe this is for them, maybe it isn't for them. They want to get a bigger picture. If you bring them on Friday, what the goal on Friday is to get as many of you guys out sharing a testimonial as possible. Okay, no questions, just testimonials, just stories. And so what the idea is that you'll work throughout the course of the week. You know, you're talking to people, you're putting them through your sales funnels. Hopefully, you're reaching out and calling them on the telephone and connecting with them. They may have a question or two. Say, you know what, I want you to come on Friday. And on Fridays, I want you to just have a listen, because you're going to hear some people all over the world who are having results with these extraordinary products and are living a lifestyle that most people only dream about. So you invite your guest on Friday, and by the time we're done on Friday, they are either in or out. And then you can move through the rest of your weekend just enjoying yourself and knowing that, you know, they're in or they're out now. We've done the work for you. So that's the routine. So this morning, though, we are going to do our best to get through these questions and comments. If you guys, a couple of questions, okay, that you may have. The back office is up and running. Yes, it was offline for a little bit yesterday, and those interruptions that's part of the norm, actually, when you're launching something that is this big. So don't be alarmed. I saw some of you guys were, you know, a little bit nervous Nellies in the Skype room or in the Facebook room. Oh, what's going on? The sites are down. Well, you know, the sites go down, especially now. There's a lot of stability there, but they take them down for significant reasons, to do massive updates that go across the platform. Also, traffic is not running yet. Okay, if you're wondering about traffic, now you can drive traffic. You know, like, remember I told you the story about the guy that I met at the grocery store, the guy who works behind the deli counter at my local grocery store? Well, there's some traffic, right? The guy sent me a text with his email address, and as I told you guys, I sent him an email with my funnel link. And I also send them a link to trafficweblive.net, last Thursday's webinar, which was so good. It has that, you know, the walkthrough of the back office by Adam, and then it has that discussion, 35,000 feet discussion about really where we're going with our community and with our company. And I sent him that as well. And lo and behold, he got started. He became a member. He became a member for $144. And so now he's deciding what traffic, and he's got to wait to get paid, and I understand that. But my point is that there's leads everywhere. The guy said to me yesterday when I saw him at the grocery store, I went there. I was like, hey, dude, congratulations, Ray. He goes, yeah, pretty cool, huh? He says, do I have to really, is it necessary for me to buy traffic? And I'm like, no, of course not. I says, there are plenty of ways for you to obtain traffic. I says, I got news for you, bro. You are traffic. I sent you a link. You demonstrated an interest. I sent you a link, and boom shakalaka, you got started. So, you know, the traffic, the systems are working, the funnels are working, but as far as the traffic is concerned, it still isn't. We're still not being pushed, right? And that's a big project, and it's going to start. It's going to start a little bit slow. Like, remember in the old days, there used to be a TV commercial called Anticipation, and it was for ketchup. Remember, I don't know who it was. They would hold the ketchup bottle upside down, and it would just slowly come out, and just a little more, and before you know it, it's like, whoa, whoa. That's what's going to happen with the traffic. It's going to start, and it's going to move, and it's going to move. Okay, let me see what Mr. Wellens, come on out here, dude. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, I remember those anticipation days, and I'm still in anticipation days today. Yeah.
Yes.
But, you know,
that was it.
There
Heinz.
really is almost. It was Heinz, you know. That's it for me, man. I mean, you come to my house, you know, it's Heinz, right? I mean, I don't even need to go to the grocery store to get a bottle of Heinz, right? Amazon could just deliver it to my door every, 60 days for all I care, right? There's probably 200 things in my house and probably in everybody else's houses that we don't need to go to the grocery store to go pick it up. It should just come automatically, right? Like traffic. It should just come automatically, right?
And speaking of Heinz, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to say that my father he's deceased now, but he's a first generation American of Polish descent. So I'm an angry Polish man from the South Side, right? So my father was Polish, and I used to say to my mom, what about you? And she says, I'm Heinz, honey, 57 varieties. I got a little bit of everything. So that's why I remember Heinz. I should have remembered Heinz. But speaking of Heinz, I just quickly want to say something. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to your comments. If you have any specific technical questions, we're going to ask you to send those into support, or maybe send a direct message to one of the leaders who can help you. But and when I get to you guys, I'm going to be announcing the last 4 digits of your cell phone number, and then I'm going to ask you to come out and state your first name and the city, state, or the country that you're calling in from, and then make your comment and ask your questions. And I want to make sure that you've gone through all the training videos, because I noticed yesterday, Doug, that there wasn't many questions yesterday, and the questions we had were very, very specific questions about technology and little tiny pieces, which is a good thing, because now we know that people are really going through the videos and getting a handle on it. But we're going to get to your questions in a moment, and what I do is I said I'll say the last 4 digits of your phone number, and then say your name, the city, state, or country you're calling from, and we'll get to your comment. Before I get there, though, Doug, I was thinking this morning, about what it is that we do here. And I was thinking about how systematized it is. It really is a simple system that anyone can execute. And I was thinking about Kara, Kara from Texas. She was out here yesterday. She's a regular on Facebook. You hear her. She posted a great video there. She's relatively new in her internet marketing game, and she's having magnificent results. And she's not overthinking it. She's just plugging in, watching the videos, and following the system. And it reminds me, when I first got started in our industry, I was in the water filter company. And forgive me, but a couple of weeks ago, some guy came out here, a gentleman came out, and he mentioned that water filter company. He was in that same company as me, NSA. And when I first got started there, the guy who I was working with, his name was Chris Christopherson, believe it or not. Not the Chris Christopherson you see on TV, but he was another guy named Chris Christopherson. And he was just crushing it, right? He was just making a ton of money. He was very relaxed, just making a ton of money. It was just amazing. And I remember one time I said, dude, what are you doing? Could you tell me what you're doing to make the money? Because I want to make this kind of money, right? And you know what he said to me? He said, I'm just flipping the burger. I'm flipping the burger, baby. Just flipping the burger. That's what he said. Flipping the burger. And I was like, what do you mean flipping the burger? He said, well, I'm just following the system. And he said, McDonald's? McDonald's, which everyone knows McDonald's. He said McDonald's has built an international empire around the world because they have a system that anyone can do. If you order an Egg-a-Muff in San Francisco, or an Egg-a-Muff in Florida, or an Egg-a-Muff in Honolulu, or one in Japan, you're going to get the same thing. Because the system that they have put in place is a system that anyone can execute. Now, we won't go into the details of how McDonald's really makes the money, because did you know that McDonald's is the largest holder of real estate in the world? That's the real play there, is the real estate. But my point is that, they were able to create an international monster by creating a system that any teenager can implement. And now it's totally automated, right? And they just continue to grind it out. And I was thinking about that this morning when I was thinking about what is in place here right now. It truly is a systemized operation, and the less you think about it and the more you just apply the principles, the faster the results will come. I see people still from time to time, kind of struggling with some stuff, and, they're overthinking things. So my point this morning to you guys is just flip the burger. All you do is just talk to people. Yes, you can buy traffic, of course, but really, it's just about connecting and communicating with people, right? I got a guy just signed up with me a couple days ago over the weekend because he's behind the counter at the Del East, and I wasn't really aggressive and tried to sign him up. He asked me what I was doing. I says, hey, I'm an internet traffic broker, and that's what I do. And I'm an internet. He's like, really? Tell me more. And the next thing you know, I told him less. Right? The goal was to tell him less and let the system do the work. Say less to more people. Just give them your link. I would get a business card with your sales funnel link on it. You know what I mean? It's very, very, just so you're always in the rhythm. So if you're away from your computer, you're away from your autoresponder system, you're away and you're out in the world, and you have a business card that says that you are an internet traffic broker, and then there's a link to your funnel. You can't say you're with Traffic Authority, because that's coming. I know maybe Doug, you can speak to what you have in store as far as Bling is concerned, and Swag, business cards where people can get some stuff. But in the meantime, just go get yourself a very simple business card. You know what I mean? Just like if you were on the internet, just it's like, hey, Joe Need, internet traffic broker. More information, here's my link. Don't even put a phone number there, because you want to put them in the funnel, right? Say less to more people. Put people in the funnel. Let the funnel do the work. The people behind the scenes that have created these funnels, they know what converts. They know what is clever. They know what is interesting, and they also know that it must be fresh and new. So you're always going to see updates, and you're always going to see fresh messaging. It's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. So, Doug, what do we have in? I was thinking, okay, because I know we got a lot of stuff going on. I need to get a shirt, and I need a baseball hat, so that when we're doing webinars, we can be branding on behalf of the company, right? This is like, swag, bro, swag, baby. What are you thinking?
Yeah, man. I'm already thinking, custom bandana for you for sure. I mean, gotta have that, right? I mean, you look so hot in that black bandana thing that you wear. I mean,
that's my style.
I could never pull that. I could never pull that image off as successful as you, man. So I got to commend you for that. But yeah, we're gonna have all that, swag stuff. In the early days, like we are here right today, we're just working on getting the systems up, getting all the the technical stuff out of the way, and as we begin to roll out the events and the conferences, that stuff is going to naturally evolve. Everybody's going to see a store pop up in their back office at some point, and there'll be things, shirts, hats, T-shirts, all that kind of stuff,
And business cards.
And
business
cards.
Right?
It's funny you mentioned business cards, man, because I've always been the anti-business card guy, right? Where, like, I would show up at an event and I wouldn't have any business cards, right? And so what I'd have to do, I'd have to, make my own handmade business cards, Like, I'd be sitting at my desk at 7 o'clock in the morning before I'd head out to the door, and I'd just write my name and my phone number and my email address, and I'd have, 50 of them in my pocket, right? That was, the equivalent of my business card, right? And it's so funny because I took a trip with my daughter over the summer, my 12-year-old, and she asked me for this piece of paper on the morning we were coming home on a flight. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. Here's a piece of paper and a pen, And we're on the plane. We're sitting next to this really nice lady. She's telling us the story about her husband and her. They just bought 1,600 acres of land in Tennessee, and they're multimillionaires, really set for life. This and that. The next thing I know, my 12-year-old pulls out one of her little calling cards and hands it to the lady and says, if you ever need to contact me, here it is, and you can follow me on Instagram and all this. I'm like, what the heck is this going? So, yeah, the little cub is learning from, the big lion, right? But, yeah, we'll have all that stuff as we evolve here very soon, very shortly. And, Joe, you're definitely going to have ball cap number 1, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And, the business card thing, like I said a moment ago, you can get these very inexpensive. And what I'm thinking is no telephone number. Right? The only way for people to get a hold of you is at the link, right? And so, you can customize a link, right? For example, you can create your own clever domain, and you can point that domain at one of your sales funnels, or maybe for a retail sales funnel. There's a lot of cool things that we'll get into in some of our training to really just give you guys a little bit of an edge, right? That slight edge always will make a difference. And I said that it was going to be Hans and Franz pumping you up because I thought that I heard that I thought that my boy Greg Chambers was still in the gym. He's pumping his iron. Get out here, Greg. I see that you've shown up on the call, dude. I thought it was going to be Hans and Franz, Doug and Joe, and suddenly you're here, man. What's going on?
Man, it's awesome to be here. And I do have a small story to share on the business card situation. And I will just say this, Joe, because how right you are. Actually reminds me of when I started my lead business back in the day. Started a company called bestleads.com, which is no longer around, actually. But in the first 30 days, my dad actually went out and bought me 500 business cards. They were really beautiful black and red business cards, and they were printed horizontally instead of how normally it goes vertically across the page. And I will just say it had a changing impact on my mind, thinking, I now own a business. I am now a businessman. Because at the time, I was also a network marketer. I also was marketing my main program. But when he did that, I'm just saying it's amazing how it had a huge impact. And I can just say when people do this, when they, as this becomes available and people get a card, it will change your mindset that, I am now a business owner. So it's pretty cool how that works. It's a great point you're bringing up.
Yeah, and thank you very much. Thank you for the compliment and welcome here. We're happy to have you here with us this morning, Greg. Okay, business cards. Note to self. Order some business cards from Vistaprint or something. No brands, okay? Here we go. Go take a look at the compliance guide. Please, you are your own brand, and you want to build your own brand. So whatever your brand is, that's what this should say on the business card. Internet Traffic Broker is such a cool title. And then my recommendation would be just to get a cute URL, right? Like one of my URLs is the king of all networkers.com. That's me. I've got a bunch. I've got like literally dozens and dozens and dozens of URLs, right? And so just get your own URL, and if you know how to do a redirect, we can teach you how to do that. You can go and do a redirect. So you get a URL from whoever, GoDaddy, whatever, and then you just point that cool URL at whatever landing page you want to promote. All right, let's get this rolling here. Let's get into the game. 9151, you are first up. Good morning.
Well, I tell you, this is Bricktown Tom in Oklahoma City.
Hey, Bricktown Tom, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Listen, I've been up all night posting ads all over the place. Jump back over to Facebook and see people over there saying, oh, the links aren't working, the servers are down. And, and I thought, well, I probably posted 500 links or 500 ads in different areas all over the Internet, Google+, Craigslist, Facebook. Those links are going to go live when the servers come back up.
And the servers are up. I just heard it. I just heard the server in my ear.
They come up about an hour ago, something like that. And, I've been checking them all night, but it kind of put me ahead of the game. And I, Internet marketing is kind of like, you always use these things to maybe get people pumped up, but Internet marketing is kind of like fishing. You're at a good fishing hole, and you're throwing the line in, and people are, the fish aren't biting. They're in there, so you move around to the other side of the pond. And then you may have to change your bait a little bit. They're always there. And to me, I probably posted 500 ads in the last 11, 12 hours. And to me, that's deep.
That's huge.
I got a system down where I can post an ad about every 10 seconds. And, Google Plus is an awesome, awesome place. And, it's very gigantic. And so is Facebook, but Craigslist is good, too. That's all I want to say. I just want to say thank you, Joe, and, thank everybody at Traffic Authority and Bricktown Tom in Oklahoma City. Listen, have a good day, buddy.
Thank you very much. Bricktown Tom checking in. And Bricktown Tom, you are so correct. It's like you got to go where the fish are. You can get a fishing pole with a hook, a line and a hook, and you can drop that into your bathtub. And technically you're fishing. Technically, according to the definition, you're fishing. But there ain't no fish in the bathtub, so you got to go where the fish are. 5649, you're next up. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. It's Bert from Canyon Lake, California.
Hey, Bert, how are you today? I'm good.
I'm doing great. I don't have a question. I really don't have much of a comment. I just came on this morning just to be inspired. But listening to you and Doug and Greg with your stories and your comments, I love your story about your local grocery store, the guy behind the counter, because they're so easy to visualize. Same thing with Greg's daughter. How cute! She's following her dad's lead, and
yes.
We need to be like kids, I guess. We need to follow your lead, and that's my only comment. I hope you had a good Labor Day, and good luck to everybody. We don't need the luck anymore. And I love the guys, the previous callers' visual the fishing hole.
Yeah, it's true.
The fishing hole. And,
well, thank you, thank you for. Go ahead, Bert.
No, go ahead, Joe.
I just want to thank you for chiming in.
Down.
I really appreciate you taking the time to come in here every single day. One of the cast of characters we have here at Traffic Report. Bert checking in from Canyon Lake. Let's keep it moving. 966. Oh, I know who this is. 9668.
What do you mean by that, Joe?
Well, I can smell the deep dish pizza coming off of your telephone number.
Hey everybody, it's Dave out here in Tinley Park, Chicago South Side. Here we go. Listen, I actually do have two questions today, and this will probably be a Greg question or whoever's handling most of the stuff with the GetResponse stuff. I remember yesterday's call. Somebody asked about are we going to move the list from our pre-launch over to our actual launch site, but I've already taken care of that on my side. But you know what? I didn't even think that it may cause an issue since we have what's called pass-through URLs. So Doug or Greg, whoever can answer this, are there any known issues with simply moving somebody? Because I already had people during my pre-launch. I already had them in a GetResponse campaign. So what I did the other day was move them over to my the reseller leads campaign. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if we know if there's any issues with, for example, like since it didn't go through the system that way, will it not fill in a URL that they might need to click or anything like that? I can't test it that way either because it won't allow me to test anything. It doesn't even send me emails to my own account because I've already tested it before.
All right. Well, Greg does have an answer for you. Greg, come on out.
Good.
Here. Mm-hmm. Gregory Chambers, take yourself off mute, my friend. Just a moment ago, Greg was
my God, I'm talking to myself. Here I'm using my oldest line in the book. It's Greg email Chambers. I'm talking to myself.
Yes, you are. Come on out here,
Sorry
Greg.
about that. Dave, a couple things on this because I was actually talking to the one of the head development guys who basically works on the email part of this, and really just kind of two things I want to cover because, one of the issues, is that we'll always be, updating and upgrading autoresponders, but we want people to know that even though that we can, basically communicate to any of the GetResponse accounts that we have the API codes, we will never download like version 2.0 onto your GetResponse accounts. What we'll do is we'll put up a button inside your Traffic Authority back office saying version 2 is ready. And the reason for that is for people just like you or other people who've spent time either slightly revising the messages, because understand, once these emails are preloaded into your GetResponse, anyone can go in and they can actually, rewrite or change these messages to fit their personality a little bit better. Some people may be using, their own landing pages, and as we know in that case, you cannot use the dynamic URLs. You have to hard code your personal URL on those. So we'll never download stuff automatically and just wipe out all your personal changes you've made. We'll put up something to say, hey, if you want to download them, you can do that. And what people will probably end up doing, Dave, people like you that are really smart and good with the technical pieces, is you just will change some list names around to where you just download the preloaded things to the 4 original places, and you just probably would move your original list that you might have some different more custom things on. So again, but the bottom line is you'll always be in control, and we will not, we'll never overwrite your existing stuff, which that was my concern yesterday, and I wanted to make sure that was going to be so going forward.
Well, no, Greg, that's not what I really meant. One thing I want to do is the stuff that we have created by our professional copywriters, and hopefully my team and everybody out there listen. I would recommend not changing any of that stuff. Let the system do the work. These guys are pros. That's what they do. I'll be promoting that to my team. I want them to be everything to be duplicatable exactly to the point. I don't want to change anything. I'm not going to get fancy with everything. I'm going to follow the system because in 20 years of doing this, I've screwed it up 19 years. This is my last year I'm ever going to not screw something up. So I can tell you what ways not to do it, and that brings me to another point that Joe spoke earlier, but I'll bring that up in a second. But what I mean is I had an old list in GetResponse that were pre-launch people that I was sending email newsletters to. What I did with them is I just simply moved them to the new campaigns. So I'm wondering if just moving them would cause any problems with the links that propagate. You know what I'm talking about when I say when the links propagate. So I want to make sure that when they get those emails, they're not seeing a blank list because they didn't their code didn't pass through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Again, that's something that I'm going to personally have to test. And one of the ways, Dave, you can always test this is you can go up and you can always sign up for a free Gmail account or a free email account of a different kind, and you can actually, put that through.
I don't even think I should do that. Just create another darn email account.
Yeah, I'm doing that so often, but I always need extra seed accounts anyway. So I mean, it's always a good idea, to have, a seed account by definition, just so is an email address only is inside your list, so your data is always secure because that means whenever your list is sent, you're going to receive. That. So, and again, it's just always a good idea. With data, I always do that. I always have multiple ones. And, it's just, again, it's a data security factor. But in this case, also, it's a very good testing, factor. Will show, like you say, if you move something, if the links come through properly. I believe, again, that it's not going to create an issue. But, just like with anything else, I always test everything. Sometimes the way you think it is not the way it is. So it's always wise to test it.
All right. Any recommendations you have for people that? Because I notice when somebody unsubscribes, it unsubscribes from the Get Response list, no problem, but does not pull them out of our back office. Any recommendations of what people should be doing with that lead that's sitting back there that looks like a lead to us but opted out in actuality?
There simply are the legal requirements of CAN spam that, obviously we don't email them anymore. But I will tell you this, just from being in email marketing for a very long time, just because someone unsubscribes doesn't mean, necessarily that they're not worth a phone call or they're not worth, following up with. And I would say that especially, if they get up a little bit higher in the process, if they're just a lead and it's email only, and they unsubscribe, then at that point, perhaps it's just you move them, and we need to make a designation so you can move them inside, your back office. But, as far as
like an ignore list or something, right?
Yeah, like an ignore list, exactly. But, if it was actually like someone who bought something for me, sometimes people have a bad day. And, I have a much harder time letting buyers go or, additional action takers, people that have crossed more than one hurdle. I have a more difficult time, letting them go. If I have an alternate way to reach them, I will not email them ever if they unsubscribe. But it doesn't mean I won't reach out a different way to see if I can't get them back.
I hear you. That covers my two questions. The only other thing I wanted to address is, Joe, you could not have hit the nail on the head any better than when you were talking about telling people less. In 20 years of screwing up network marketing businesses, I can tell you that people, the less you tell them, the better prospects you get. It's probably the number one way I have destroyed my growth in businesses in the future. That and not having a lead system like we have now. This is why this business is so great. Remember, people need to remember that you are excited about this business and that you know everything there is about it. Most of us, a lot of us will learn everything we think we know about it. But in our heads, we know everything about it. And we want that prospect so bad because we think that this would be good for them. Not only would it be good for them, it'd be good for us. So the problem is that your prospect doesn't know everything about this business. So the problem is when you talk to them and you're excited like that, then they think they now have enough information to make a decision when they do not. This is a huge mistake for people that are coming into this business, especially for the first time. Do not do that to yourself. Do not go in to tell them, oh, well, it's great. You do this, and money falls off a waterfall right into your wallet. Do not do that stuff to yourself. Give them a link, get an email address. A trick I've been recently using is, and I got this from listening to a call. Another person told me. Actually, I think it was Joe talking about it, where the guy he spoke to the other day that became a rep, he just simply said, give me an email address and I will get some information to you. Get the email address from me. If you have a business card, get the email address first and then give him your card. That is probably the best way for in-person interviews, because otherwise we're excited about this business. We'll tell them stuff. They think they have enough information when they have none They have no information. They're just based off our excitement. And they see that, and they're like, oh, well, I can't do what he's doing right now.
There it is.
They won't do that. Get an email address, then give them your card if you have one. Tease them to want more. As Eric Bechtold taught me in his trainings, tease people to get the information. People want this information, but they have to have a reason to go forward to it. And lastly, swag would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome. I'd love to be walking down the street with a nice, with that cool logo on my shirt and URL on the back or something. That'd be some good ideas. Can't wait for that stuff to come in. But that's all future stuff. We're working on the traffic, getting our businesses, getting them started. So everybody focus on that. So in the meantime, you guys, it's always a pleasure. And Illuminati's is in Tinley Park.
Thank you, Dave. Dave checking in from Tinley Park. And Dave, you said a lot there, and it's all true. You know, one of the things that I have found is that people are always making a decision, right? When you're talking to somebody, especially in our world, network marketing, you've been a multi-level marketer, you know, it's kind of like people run for the hills. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. No. You know, but so all along the way, people, when you're having a discussion, they're making decisions in the nanosecond, right? Can I do this? Will I do this? Who's going to teach me? Can I do this? Can I do this? Well, anybody can do something so simple as get an email address. Anyone can do that. But can you do something that Adam Whiting does? Can you go into details on how this thing works? Can you do what Greg Chambers can do? Let me tell you exactly how that compensation model works and what it means to be a 3-star. You know, who can really do that stuff? And that is why we have a system. That is why we have calls like this, because this is where you bring people to get the information. But you keep it as simple as possible, because people are always going to say, can I do this? And I was working with a guy a couple of years ago in Australia, and he actually was working for my company. He was paid. He was like in charge of the, you know, Australian, New Zealand markets. This guy, he was crushing it, and he had a prospect on the phone, and he thought he was really connecting with this guy, so he broke his rule, and he went into a whole bunch of detail. He ended up talking to this guy for like a half hour, and at the conclusion of the conversation, the prospect said, you know, I love everything I hear. I'm really, really excited about this, but I have one question for you. In order for me to have success, am I going to have to do what you just did? Am I going to have to spend a half hour on the telephone? And I remember this guy, you know, drew in us. He was like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm like an international trainer breaking the big rule, which is keep it simple. Say less to more people. 0260, you're next up.
Hey, Joe, this is Curtis Conrad from Fort Myers, Florida.
Hey, Curtis, from Fort Myers. How you doing?
Kirby Mac Attack. I've been involved with CPC leads, and I'm in Eric Bechtold's downline. Mm-hmm. And I just have a question about ILS. I have some leads over in that organization, and they haven't been brought over yet to a traffic authority.
Okay, Mr. Chambers, I think.
Yes, sir. That's a very good question for me. And you know, again, what I think we'll have to do with that is simply, you know, if it doesn't already exist, and then forgive me because so much of the traffic authority stuff is being built with a little download button. Although I did notice it was not on the lead section. That will be added here very shortly, just so you guys know. But on the ILS side, on the beta side, if that's not there, we'll certainly create that. And then, you know, simply we'll have a written instruction on how to actually download that and import it into GetResponse. Because the good news is it's super easy to, you know, import things. However, I did have a question, you know, or a brief conversation with someone on Facebook the other day, and it's important to let people know that when the great thing about having your own GetResponse account, as people are learning very quickly, is that, you know, gives you just much greater control. You will not want to import any, you know, excess, you know, any other data, you know, into your existing 4 lists. What you'll want to do is you want to create a custom list for this, and again, this will be in the instructions, just so I'll walk you through it. And we may even have a service to do this for you. We're talking about actually creating some services for people that need a little bit of extra help on the technical side. But again, you know, this would create a list as an example, you know, in your GetResponse account. Let's just call it Greg for this case, because that's one thing I can remember easily. And basically what you do is you would import that data into that list, and then you basically would be able to send, you know, communication to people to say, you know, with your link. You know, we always talk about build your list, And I think people think in a linear way when we talk about that is that, your list is literally, all of your, contacts you ever have come in, contact with via email or any other way in one list. I mean, the truth is, when you own your own, account, like a GetResponse account, you will have multiple lists. They happen to call them campaigns, just to let you know. A little confusing there. They're located in the UK. They're over in England, so you got to forgive those guys for calling a list a campaign. But it's exactly the same thing. And you'll just create a campaign, and then that's where you'll put your ILS leads, and then you'll be able to, just put in an email saying, hey, I've got something brand new for you to go check out. Really recommend you do. Here's a link, and, if you have any questions, let me know, and have a nice day. And that's it. And so basically you're going to invite them, over to your traffic authority information. So, I mean, that's how that will work. But as far as getting them from ILS to your GetResponse account will be a manual effort on your part. So we'll have some instructions for you on that here probably by the end of the week.
And thank you very much for that answer, Greg, and thank you, Curtis. Curly Mac Attack calling in from Florida. We're going to keep it moving here. Next question is from 9738. Is this Hawaii calling in?
Aloha. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, wow. Hey.
Wow,
hey, this is Steve. This is Steve Crumsey from Hawaii. Yes.
Aloha.
Okay. Really quick. You guys already answered the question about the GetResponse, and Joe actually sent you a message on Facebook. I saw that you opened it. Just want to extend my gratitude to you for everything that you and everyone is doing, posting these calls and webinars every week. But so I got my question answered, but I wanted to kind of just put something out there because I hadn't really had a lot of contact with my sponsor, so a lot of things like how to set up a Google Hangout and things like that, questions I have been posing to him, and I haven't got a response. But one thing, the earlier person who made a statement is that you just simply Google. I Googled how to set up a Google Hangout, and lo and behold, tons of videos came up on YouTube how to actually set one up. So I'm very proud to say that I actually set up my first Google Hangout from taking that initial action. So I offered some free Your Wish is Your Command 14 CD set audios on Periscope, and I led them to a Google Hangout, and I actually got leads from that. So, thinking outside the box, it works, and the Internet is a ton of resources where you can actually be proactive and not reactive in your business. So thank you so much, Greg and Doug and Joe, and this is Steve Crumsey from Hawaii. Aloha.
And aloha, Steve. Thank you very much. And you're so right. It's like it's come to the point where I look up how long should I barbecue my chicken? I mean, I go to Google to ask that question. I mean, it's ridiculous how much information there is in Google. I don't know what we did without it, but yeah, there is so much there. There's so much there. And thank you very much for that, Steve. And that's what I call visionary thinking. That's very, very cool, man. Bringing people to a Google Hangout is awesome. Google knows everything, says Greg. That's true. 2748, you're next up.
Yes, hello, Joe. This is Richard from New York.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah, I have several questions here. The first one is, during the 72-hour window for upgrades that Traffic Authority had, we bought a silver package for $660, and we were under the impression from TA that we'd have an automatic upgrade to gold. We have no confirmation of that. Will we get a confirmation?
Douglas, Mr. Doug Wellens.
I am here. Yep. Hey, how are you today?
Doing good, thanks.
What's your username, please?
Richard Keener.
Is that your username?
Okay, it's ARK35.
That's what I needed. ARK35. I'll take care of it from here. Thank you, my friend. We'll get you an email acknowledgement out of support and get that upgrade taken care of. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. My second question, Joe, last week we've been trying to get our back office set up, and it kept locking up on us, so we couldn't complete the setup. Is it working now?
Yes, it is working now, and it might be I don't know what side of the equation. We've had people who are they don't have enough bandwidth sometimes on their own internet, and they get spinning color wheels and stuff. But my experience has been very, very smooth, and I really haven't heard any other feedback to suggest that things are freezing up and locking up. I will say, is like we heard earlier today, that the websites themselves from time to time, they seem to be missing, right? They're gone. And that's because there is massive upgrades that take place, and so they have to bring the whole system off in order to execute an upgrade. So, but right now, I don't see any problems. I'm not hearing of any problems, Richard.
Okay, well, we'll give it another try and see what happens. My last question is Traffic Authority doing autoresponders for our leads right now?
The answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, very good. Well, we're anxious to get into the back office and set up our email and autoresponders, so we're excited about this, and we hear a lot of good things, and it sounds terrific. But we're getting a slow beginning here, but I'm sure it'll eventually snowball.
Yeah, it will. And the only thing I can ask for you to do is go back in there and, like they say in the old days, follow the bouncing ball. It's very, very self-explanatory. The tutorials are very, very easy to understand. They're very well done. They're very direct. So you should be able to knock that out of the park pretty quickly there, Richard. 9190, you're next up in the queue. 9190.
Oh, this is Earl Teets out of Montana. Papa Bear, it's great to hear your voice this morning. I just got to thank you guys. I've been in this industry 20 years. I've failed really big. I've earned really big, but I've never seen nothing so amazing in all my life. I mean, some people see it, some people don't. But for those of you listening, you need to really understand, when the automobile created more wealth in the United States about the mid-1960s to early 1970s, that was 20, 30 years after the first automobile hit the ground, and that's when the automobile industry created more wealth in the world than all the wealth that the United States had seen as a nation since its birth. Today, we're in the age of the Internet. The Internet is about 20, 25 years old. We are at the beginning of a very beautiful trend online, and Traffic Authority has all the tools any entrepreneur could ever want to use. And the unique thing about Traffic Authority, folks, the tools pay you to build your business. All you got to do is plug in and go. And man, I just praise God for you guys, and I just thank you for setting something up correct that we can work with and produce with. I just thank you guys so much, Joe.
You're very, very welcome, Earl, and thank you very much for showing up here. And Earl, I think you posted a picture on Facebook, and it was a giant, looked like a big brown bear with a giant salmon in its mouth, and I think you were referring to me. And I appreciate that very much, because somebody last week told me that, well, I don't know if you were on the webinar or not, but I appreciate that bear with the salmon in his mouth. 3670, you're next up, 3670.
Hey, Joe, this is Cassandra again. How you doing?
Hey, Cassandra. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Joe, I did get on the link that you gave me, and I was putting my API in, and I guess I did. Was I supposed to copy the clipboard also with the API to put in? Because I didn't do that. I didn't copy the clipboard because I put my API in the box, and it's been saving my key ever since 11:30 last night up to now.
Well, what I would do is I would go back and start over from scratch. I would start over from scratch and just follow the system, use the clipboard. I mean, the reason that is set up the way it is because it works. And if you follow the system, that was my personal experience, okay? Because I was stuck too, and then I went back and I followed exactly what I was supposed to do, exactly what Adam said to do.
And I listened to him again, and that's what he said. So that was my problem, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy listening to this call every day. I mean, because I learned pretty much a lot, and I'm so grateful for you all, and I really appreciate you.
You're welcome, Cassandra. Come back if you have any more problems. You can always send in a support ticket as well, and we'll do our best to get you up and running as quickly as possible. 4452, you are next up. Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have a question with my Get Response.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, Brandon from California.
Okay, Brandon. What was your question?
With my Get Response, I have about 12 campaigns, and I'm not sure. I know it says it's from a traffic authority, but I'm not sure exactly what it is really.
Well, I think we only have 4 campaigns. Greg or Doug, Brandon in California is reporting that there are 12 campaigns, but I know that we only have 4.
It is 4.
So, Brandon, maybe you loaded that thing up 3 times, huh?
Okay.
Or if he has an existing account, he may have other campaigns, but yeah, only 4 coming from us, and a 5th if you created a pre-launch.
Okay, sounds great. I'll look into that.
Thank you, Brandon. We'll keep it moving here. 5232. I feel we got some momentum going, you guys. 5232. You're next up. Good morning. 5232.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can.
Good
hear
morning.
You.
Hi, Joe, Doug, Greg. My name is Holly Folks. I'm calling from Los Angeles, California. And I have a couple of questions. My first question is, I have the same issue as the previous caller, the gentleman who was referring to his stair-step bonus. Mm-hmm. I don't believe mine is applicable yet either. I'm actually new to Traffic Authority, so I would like to know when that will be effective.
Doug?
Let me ask you one quick question. Let me say this: as long as the traffic purchase was made by the 30th or 31st, whatever that Sunday was, forgive me for not remembering exactly, then it will happen. And of course, if it did not happen, all you would do is submit a support ticket. But like Doug did on the last person, if you'd like to give your username, we'll be happy to take a quick peek and look. The last gentleman, I actually looked him up, and he is actually platinum qualified. If he looks in his pre-launch back office and scrolls down to the bottom of the Join Now page, he will see that he is a platinum. So one way for you to take a look is to log into your pre-launch back office, which is our original back office where you would have been during pre-launch, and just scroll to the very bottom. And I want you actually, though, give me your username anyway, and tell us what what traffic product you did purchase.
Wonderful. Okay, my username is all lowercase letters, H as in Heather, D as in Deborah, last name Folks, F as in Frank, OWLKES as in Sam.
That's actually one of my favorite words. I actually use the word folks quite often, so I like that. Coming from a farmer and ranch talk, I can't help but talk to the folks. So thank you.
Exactly. There you go with the W and E are silent, yes.
So I will work in the background for your next question. You can direct that to Joe or Doug or whoever. I'll try to have an answer for you before we get off this call.
Okay, wonderful, great, thank you. And my second question is, I was trying to understand exactly where the traffic within the packages that we pay for, because I pay for specific packages, not just one, so multiple packages, where the traffic is coming from, and how it is actually driven to how the clicks are driven to the traffic for those clicks within those packages are driven to my respective site, TA site.
One of you boys want to take a crack at this? And where's the traffic come from? Is that your Holly?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yes.
Yeah. So Holly, it's right, Holly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, correct.
You're just looking for, how do we derive the traffic, basically? How are we creating this traffic? That's your question, right? And so
pretty much, I'm trying to understand the layperson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So the answer is all the traffic that we have currently today is all email-driven traffic. We have found that email is like the best way to convert immediate response traffic here. And so the traffic that we've got is all U.S. and Canada-based, 98% U.S., 2% Canada. You won't see any international clicks. You won't see any bots. Everything's filtered out completely. And because of we're very fortunate, right? Greg's my business partner here, and he's been in traffic and lead generation for 20 years now. And I got to tell you, we've probably today got the single largest stable of publishers, known, vetted, high-quality publishers on the planet right here. We run everything through our own internal quality control, so everybody's completely filtered out all the time. All data is fresh and clean. We have other outside sources that we use for scrubbing our publishers' data, so we know what's going on. So that's basically the gist of your question there, or the answer anyway. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just excited. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready. I'm just really excited. I've never seen anything like this. I've tried several MLMs, probably Artists, if anyone's heard of that, probably about 5 times, Melaleuca once or twice. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of been around a lot. I'm looking for something that's extremely lucrative but kind of passive, more or less. You do your part, but basically the work is done for you, like with funnels and everything the Traffic Authority has. So I'm really excited. And my upline, David Jackson, is absolutely amazing. Like, I am just...
He's a rock star,
I can't even... He is a rock star. He's absolutely phenomenal. I'm just so excited.
And Holly, this Greg Chambers is reporting that you are diamond qualified. Congratulations. Big thinker, big player.
Yay,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. There it is. Holly. Thank you, Holly. Stay in touch with us. We'll keep it moving. 5691, you're next up. 5691.
Steve Schumacher in Portland, Oregon, your favorite pest out there. I just want to say thank you guys. You guys are rocking. I've never been more excited about the business than ever. The new sales leads are working perfectly. I've been posting on Facebook. I've got 2 leads. Just out of curiosity, do I email them, or is there something done automatically so that I can potentially convert them into downline/customers? How does that work? Well, I'm still kind of fuzzy on that.
All right. Well, the way that it works is if you have a lead, then the only way they became a lead, Steve, is if they came through the funnel. Okay. Like I said, I told the story of the guy who works behind the counter at the grocery store. His name is Raymond. And Raymond has been serving me pizza and sandwiches and all the stuff I shouldn't be eating for the better part of a year. And the other day I was at the grocery store last week, and Raymond's like, "What do you do, by the way, man?" And I says, "I'm an internet traffic broker." And he goes, "Really? What is that?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what." I said, "Give me your cell phone number." And he gave me his cell phone number. And I said, "Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text you a link. And just check it out, okay? You'll see exactly what I do." And I texted him the link, and the next thing I know, he became a member. So, if you have somebody that's a lead in your back office, then they've already come through your funnel, Steve. 9646, you're next up. Hello, 9646. It's like 9646. We're going to have to mute up there. We're not paying attention. 1650, you're next.
Good morning, PA. Barry in Tucson.
Is that's like one of the best? What's his name? The guy who commits it. That's the best. That was excellent.
Robin Williams.
Yes, Robin Williams. There it is, Barry. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Vietnam. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I know a guy.
How you guys?
We're doing good. How about you? How you doing, Barry?
I'm excited. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be in Traffic Authority. I just had a little bit of information for, was it Kirk in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's trying to get his email list to his GetResponse. Kirk, if you're listening, what I did, just create yourself a file, copy your list, put it in your file, go over to GetResponse, click on Add Contacts. Next page will come up, hit Upload File, and it's right there in front of you. You check the little box that says your list is in accordance with their spam policy, and the Import Contacts button will highlight, and you click on that, and it's a done deal.
Very simple. Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you very much for checking in today. Good morning, Traffic Authority. I love it.
Great job, Barry. Thank you.
Barry's
you
rocking.
Got it.
7806, you are next up. 7806.
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Yes, this is Lewis from West Wyham, Massachusetts.
Hey, Lewis, how are you today?
I'm calling to thank you and Doug and Greg for everything they do. And
You're very
I want
welcome.
to say a shout out to my sponsor, Eric Bechtold, for everything he does.
Thank you very much, Lewis, for checking in today. Eric is he's a top earner here. He's been a top earner around this neighborhood for a long time, and you'll be hearing more from Eric in the future. I have a feeling that he's going to be hanging around the old brickyard here once in a while. 2654, you're next up. 2654, come on out here. Good morning.
Hey, Joe, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I am good. It's Shalane calling.
Shalane, how are you today?
I'm a little flustered. Okay, so I know. Oh boy. So I understand, obviously, that the site was down for whatever reason. Everybody can get back online except for me. Like I posted in my group, and I don't know. It says the web page is not available for my direct link, and also just the Traffic Authority. I've tried on my laptop and my desktop.
Have you tried, like, dropping your cookies, deleting? Greg, what do you think?
I've restarted. Yeah, I've restarted. I've deleted the cache, and like I said, I tried on my laptop and my computer. So I don't know what to do.
What is your maybe we can have one of the boys on this side if you can. What is your username? What's your direct link? We'll check it on this side, maybe.
Actually,
sure, thanks.
Actually, Joe. I have a bit of a report on this, and heard from another, as folks here, we have kind of two heads in the technical department, then there's like about 8 staff members under those folks, and actually heard from one of the technical people actually reporting in on this process. This actually has nothing to do with Traffic Authority. Actually, we never went down. That's why some people were up the entire time. But if anyone wants to PM me at Facebook, I might actually even post this if someone wants to hear it. But I mean, there actually was a large DNS issue on the internet, and basically that's just simply how different properties. And I'm not a super technical person, so forgive me. But there's an interesting article that just actually explains why particular websites that actually where their web servers were never down, but why people could not access them across the internet. So really what happened, and I'm afraid to say your name because every time I say it, I put the R in there. I say Charlene. I'm biting my tongue already. Say it one more time for me, please? Shalene. It's such a pretty name. So,
yeah.
Shalene. So basically, if you were just, kind of, this is what you might think about this. If you were driving, to the mall as an example, and, between, your house and the mall, that basically there was, something that happened to the main intersection on the way down there where you could not cross it. The mall was actually still open, and basically everything was fine, but you couldn't reach it. And this is a very similar situation. I'm just trying to break this down to a simple explanation and where the site was actually up, but this actually moved around. The part that was so complicated about this is that it was down for me part of the day when it was up for people on the East Coast, and there was a different time when it went down for me and was up for them. And I'm hitting people in Israel, I'm hitting people in Germany, where they're still experiencing some problems until this morning. It actually finally all resolved itself apparently. But so long story short, that's all that happened here. And I was just talking to one of our technical people that we want to actually create a kind of an uptime calendar, if you will, so people can actually go and actually see, how that actually worked. And again, I'm sorry for the long explanation, but yeah, our web server actually never went down. This actually was not an update from us. This was actually an internet issue.
Okay, because it just says the server at trafficauthority.net can't be found because the DNS lookup failed.
Yeah, so, and that DNS basically is the part they're talking about, but that DNS is not, again, our web server. It's basically it's how your browser finds it over where we are, and it's not a direct shot. Just like when you drive to the mall, you might have to take a few different. It's the same thing here. So, and again, if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, I was looking at a very cool website that's called uptrends.com, UPTRENDS.com. TREND as in David, S as in Sam.com. This will just show you what I'm talking about, and you'll be able to see that Traffic Authority, the website, is up everywhere except for, like there's like in Hong Kong, I think we're still down. But again, nothing to do with our web server. It has to do with the fact they don't have a route to communicate with us yet. So that's the long explanation, Charlene.
So I just hang out and wait for it, I guess?
Well, I would actually, I would go to your internet right now and put in uptrends.com and actually then put in our URL, put in trafficauthority.net, and you'll see when it will become available for you. Hopefully it'll be any second.
Okay. I guess I just have to start a free trial, and then I will have access to that.
Oh, no. It's a free service. Go to Free Tools on that. Free Tools is their 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the fourth one over. Yeah, there's no need to do a trial. It's a free site.
Got it.
Awesome.
Well, there it is. We learn something new every day. Wow. That's pretty cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's keep it moving. Okay, 0618. You're next up in the queue. 0618.
Hey, everybody. This is Gilbert in New York City. How's everything going?
It's going well, Gilbert. How are you doing today?
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm right here in New York City. We're getting ready to go into the fall, and I expect some new, powerful, beautiful things to happen as a result of my marketing on social network for Traffic Authority. I have a question. I know you said that everything is up as of today, but I wanted to know, does that affect people who want to purchase a product or people who want to upgrade from reseller and Traffic Optimizer to Traffic Academy?
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say because I've been trying to upgrade, and every time I put in my card and press submit, nothing happens. And I've done it at least 4 times, and I don't get anything back. And when I check my bank, there was no deduction for the $97. So I was wondering, is that part of the upgrade as well? And also, I want to say, I really appreciate the integrity of the company. I mean, I sent an email or a message to Doug yesterday, and he responded to me right away. And so that really just underlines and reading the integrity of the company when a founder gets back to you. So I'm so thankful and grateful for the integrity and the authenticity of Traffic Authority.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, Gilbert. Douglas, if you're there, do you have Gilbert's username handy so we can look into the situation on why his credit card is not going through?
Hey, Gilbert, how are you, buddy?
Fine, Doug. Fine.
Yeah. So I've got the pings set up to support here. I'm just waiting for them to reply, as you can well imagine. With it being a holiday yesterday.
Sure.
They're just a little backed up. They're going to get to everybody and everything here. Promise you. You guys get, direct emails if you've come to me or Joe or Greg, with your concerns and issues, and you already submitted tickets. Well, you're doubling efforts up. Okay, I promise you that. But we're also doing our best to be respectful to everybody else in the process here. But we do have your ticket in there, man, and we'll take care of it.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
You're very welcome, Gilbert. Thank you very much, Douglas. Thank you, Gilbert. 6102. You are next up in the queue. 6102. Hello. 6102. I can hear you. You took us off mute there, 6102. Well, I guess you snooze, you lose. 1508. You're next up. 1508. How you doing today?
Okay, this is Dave Crandall out in Durham, North Carolina. How are you?
Good. I'm good, Dave. How are you today? What's going on, man?
Okay, good. I was just calling because I had a person who wanted to sign up in India, and he was having a problem because he said that when he went to the link, or the button, create your free account now, all his old login details would show up there. He was already signed up before in another account, and he wanted to create a new account because he wanted to follow me instead of someone else. And so he he clicked on create your free account now, and all his old login details were filled into the new link, new blanks, and he was upset or frustrated about that because he couldn't change it for some reason.
Well, you know what? That is actually a question, and I'll make a comment on that, David. It is you know, the lineage is a very, very important thing here, right? I mean, we honor where people come from. And our system is set up, there's a cookie, okay? Once that person is set up in our system and they've got their email address in our system, that person is coded to whoever it was that originally brought them through. And that's the way that it rolls. You know, I would tell you that it was years ago when I was once doing a conference call for a company. I was doing a presentation call. And I remember that the presentation call was 30 minutes long. It was very good. I was feeling good about myself. There were hundreds of people on the call. And when the call was over, I hung up the telephone. And so I immediately got a telephone call, came in, and I could see on the caller ID that it was my cousin, Lenore. Lenore Need was calling me, and I hadn't heard from her in months, maybe years. And I can remember being frightened, like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Is something wrong? Is it my aunt? Is something going? You know, because I never heard from her. And I picked up the telephone, and I'm like, Happy? That's what we named her, Happy. That was her nickname. I said, Happy, what's up? And she's like, you know, she's a Polish, tough chick, like I'm a tough guy. She's like, hey, you Stanad, I thought I was your favorite cousin. I'm like, well, you are my favorite cousin. She goes, then how come you didn't call me and tell me about this business? Because I answered a newspaper ad from a guy in Denver, and I called in, and it was you, my cousin Joey. You're the pitch man. Why didn't you tell me about this? And she's like, sign me up. I'm like, Happy, you've got to go back to the person who sponsored you. I love you. You're my favorite cousin, but I can't. Someone else procured your name, and so I'm sorry, Happy. I'm here, and I'm going to send you back, because we honor that work that has been done by somebody else. And so, you know, I just wanted you guys to know that that's the way we roll here. You know, like I have this forum every single morning. I'm here every single day. And I don't sponsor anybody unless I personally sponsor them, because we honor that chain. And our system is set up, Dave, that once that person's email address, if they're using the same email address, they're coded. You can't change it. You know, there might be a sit out on the sideline rule that I don't even know about. You know, we probably have that here, Doug, but we can save that conversation for another day. Listen, I want to thank everybody who came here today. I wanted to keep it to 40 minutes. And I missed the mark. We've been here for an hour and 12 minutes. But we'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Set your alarm clock. Set your cell phone. Stay posted to the Facebook page, okay? Make sure you're paying attention, because stuff is coming fast and furious. Information is coming fast and furious. I want to thank everyone who took the time to come here today and make a comment and ask a question, which was awesome. But let's just go keep it simple, as we've been talking about here this morning, right? Let's just say say less to more people. How about that, right? Until tomorrow, you guys, make it a great day.